We want to build relationships between newcomers, immigrants, and longtime Americans.
Hello, everybody, and thank you for joining us for this episode of the First Amendment Museum's one-on-one interview series. Once again, I'm Max Nospish, the manager of visitor experiences here at the First Amendment Museum located in Augusta, Maine. Today, I'm joined by a guest who's not too far off. In fact, he's right down the road from us, which I'm excited about. And that's Chris Myers Asch. Chris, thanks for joining us. Do you want to take the time to introduce yourself?
Sure. My name's Chris Myers Asch. I'm the executive director of the Capital Area New Mainers Project, and I teach history at Colby College.
Excellent. Chris, thanks for joining us. So, Chris, why do you think the First Amendment is important? What is its purpose in your eyes?
The First Amendment is the foundation of American freedom, basically. It provides the kind of the essential freedoms that allow our free society to bloom and prosper and thrive. You think about the 5 freedoms that are protected in the First Amendment, the freedom of religions, like it's your freedom of thought, it's your freedom to think for yourself. Freedom of speech means you're free to express that, right? Free to say it without the government cracking down on you for what you believe. The freedom of the press means that you can broadcast that out to other people, try to convince them or tell them what you're thinking. The freedom of assembly means you can gather other people around you, try to win support, and then you have the freedom to petition the government, right? That means we can take these grievances, these ideas, these opinions to our representatives. I mean, the First Amendment encapsulates all the freedoms and all of what makes America a democracy.
Yeah. And so you work at the Capital Area's New Mainers Project. What is the Capital Area New Mainers Project, and what kind of work do you all do?
The Capital Area New Mainers Project, we call ourselves CAMP because Capital Area New Mainers Project is a very long name. CAMP is a community-based nonprofit organization. We work with immigrants and refugees to welcome them to our community and help them thrive and create a thriving, integrated community here in Central Maine. So we really work in 3 basic areas. One is we want to connect people. We want to build relationships between newcomers, immigrants, and longtime Americans. We want to meet immigrant needs. They come in with need for language, housing, employment, et cetera. And we want to help connect them to people and resources that can meet those needs. And then we want to educate the broader public about what we do, about who's coming, why the immigrants are coming here, what challenges they face, what benefits they bring to our community, and so forth.
Wow. So how are New Mainers shaping the civic, social, and political landscape of Maine?
Well, Central Maine is much more diverse than we get credit for. I think there's sort of this idea that, Maine is America's whitest states. We're all white here, and so forth. And that really masks a rich diversity in this area. There's a rich history of immigration in this area. Of course, the French Canadians coming down from Quebec a century and a half ago completely reshaped Central Maine in terms of its industries and its landscape and its culture, and often face many of the same, sometimes verbatim, the same kind of discrimination and resentment that immigrants today face. But the truth is that Central Maine has always been a place for immigrants to come and put down roots and thrive. And what we're seeing now in Augusta is an influx of immigrants, primarily from Syria and Iran, who have come to this area and who are really making a difference here.
And how are New Mainers using their First Amendment freedoms to advance the causes and issues that are important to them?
So, this has been a learning process, and we're actually engaged in a civic education program right now to help new citizens. Many of the people who have arrived recently are now reaching the 5-year mark. So they're becoming eligible for U.S. citizenship. and now are starting to look up and realize, hey, I'm an American citizen. I have all these rights that maybe I didn't know about or didn't enjoy in my home country, and I want to exercise them. And so camp is working to teach people about the civic process, about American form of government, about why it's important to vote and become engaged in the process, that there's this ongoing conversation in America, and that if you don't vote and get involved, you're not part of that conversation. And so we're finding that many of these new citizens are really excited to take part, but honestly, some of them are a bit wary of politics and civic engagement because they come from countries like Iraq and Syria that don't have the First Amendment, don't have a tradition of free speech and freedom of assembly and freedom of petition, where politics is a really dangerous game. And it's something better left to someone else, better left to other people, and just kind of keep your head down and do your own thing and don't attract attention of the authorities. And so if you come from that kind of culture, you might be a little bit nervous or wary about this whole political thing because you don't want to anger anyone in authority. And so it's an education process where we want to teach people how to get involved, why it's important to get involved, and how their vote is their voice, so that they can take part in this ongoing conversation of American democracy.
Yeah, and I guess so that leads to my final question. How do you utilize the First Amendment in your everyday life?
I think camp is an embodiment of the First Amendment in action. I think that we couldn't exist without the First Amendment because we exercise those freedoms every day, even from our founding. We were founded in the aftermath of the 2016 election, which, as you may recall, had a lot of really angry rhetoric about immigrants and about Muslims, and especially about Muslim immigrants. And here was this growing community of Muslim immigrants in central Maine. And many people in this area felt like that we could do more as a community to welcome people into our community, help support them, and help them integrate into the broader community. And so we organized, we assembled, used our freedom to assemble, to get together to make sure that immigrants knew they had supporters and that they had people in this community who welcomed them and wanted them to be there and saw them as a rich asset for our community. And in fact, shortly after camp was organized in early 2017, you may recall there was the administration at that time put in effect a ban on Muslim immigration from 7 Muslim nations to this area. And then that same weekend in Augusta, somebody put threatening flyers around on the doorsteps of the Halal Market on Northern Avenue and other immigrant doorsteps, basically with a picture of a Klansman saying, this is our community, you don't belong. And so camp organized a rally in support. We got members of the local Muslim community to join together with other members of the faith community, the rabbi and local clergy, joined together with public officials to have a rally in solidarity to say, not in our town. We are not going to allow this kind of hate to thrive in our town, that we envision something different for America. We envision America that welcomes people from around the world. And we're able to do that even when we oppose government officials, even when we're opposing government policies. We can do that in broad daylight and get our a picture splashed on the front page of the newspaper precisely because of the First Amendment. We could organize like that because of the First Amendment. We can get in the newspaper, and the newspaper will publish it even though it opposes administration policy because of the First Amendment. And so we feel that the First Amendment protects what we do, so that the people who are involved in organizations, in our organization, both immigrants and longtime Americans, know that they can do this kind of work without fear of official sanction.
Right. And sounds like a lot of excellent work and a lot of good work, especially here. It hits home when you mention places like the Halal Market down in Augusta, like that I've been to and see all the time. That definitely bring it into perspective. So we appreciate all the good work you guys are doing. We're glad to have you as part of the series. And before we go, I just want to give you the opportunity to sort of plug anything else, promote anything else, any projects you guys are currently working on, anything upcoming, anything people should be aware about. And it just now is your chance essentially for open mic.
Sure. As I mentioned, we're working on this voter education project, voter registration, and civic education project. And anyone who wants to get involved in camp, just go to our website, newmainersproject.org, or email us, newmainersproject@gmail.com, and let us know. We thrive because we have this really strong network of volunteers.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Chris.
Great. I appreciate it.